funny story about this bike. I almost ending up buying an electric bike instead of buying this one because I wasn't really interested of buying a YFZ since I always had like a KTM, different type of KTM, and I had hard time to taking the Kickstarter and the kind of old school way of this bike build. But I actually ending up buying it. The dealer was kind enough to give me some discount, and I had a good price on it, and I ended up buying it, made the way I like it, and it turns out to be a really, really good choice what I made, because as you see later on the video, this bike is become one of my best bike I ever owned. Let me share with you my thoughts about this bike. This is a 2022 YZ250X. I picked it up a few months ago. I already put 16 hours in it, and my impression about this bike is it's just one of the best bike I ever had. I can say this is the best bike I ever had, with the mods what I have on it. I pretty much own KTMs in my entire life. I had Yamaha once when I was a young kid, about 30 some years ago, and since then I only had Yamaha ATV, but KTM branded dirt bikes, and this is kind of like a unicorn for me, just because it's just quite different than what I get used to. First of all, there is no electric start, which is first I hated, but then I started to like it because as I'm getting older, it just brings me back memories. But on the trail, it's actually just takes a little bit out of you every time when you have the bike died on you, because you have to kick it, and it's quite difficult sometimes. So what I put on this bike is a full FMF exhaust, Boyson water pump, titanium foot pegs, URMOSI Enduro Pro wheels. These wheels has 2 bearings on the chain side. It's specifically made for enduro riding. It's quite awesome. There is a little Easter egg in there. There it is. Yeah, change the tire for Florida sand, as you see. Sprocket. Put the bar clamp. This is the must-have on these bikes. It vibrates a lot, and I don't even know I'll be able to ride it without that 720 SBC vibration clamp, and it actually helps a lot with damping if you ride like a rough trails. Helps the suspension a little bit, so you really have a good cushion feeling ride. Oh, and the biggest one, smart carb. Without that thing, this bike is just a pain in the butt. Adjusting the fuel ratio, changing the needles out all the time. But with that, you don't have to do any of those. You just put it on and you're done. And I think that's the biggest improvement what you can have far as engine mods. This thing it feels like it gives like an additional 2 horsepower easy. It just makes the bike scream. I really like it. I made the bike lighter every way I can. I used titanium bolts, and I actually ended up taking to the machine shop and cutting these out. These things alone with this, I think I saved half pound. This casted material is really heavy, so I cut all this out on both sides to make the bike lighter. Well, I think that's pretty much what I did to it. It's not much, but these changes are absolutely necessary, in my opinion, to have this bike screaming like the way it is, or ride like the way it is. Also, I noticed I choose this bike. I have two other bikes in my garage, KTM 350 XC factory edition and the KTM 300 XC 2-stroke. The other one is the 4-stroke, and I pretty much take this bike every time when I want to go on ride. It just puts a smile on my face. And I noticed with this bike, I have a trail over here. I show you. I made a trail which is very technical. It has a lot of turns, and with this bike, it just makes me a better rider. I can complete all of those turns with no problems. And if I go with my XC, I always fall. I always find myself falling. So this bike is definitely a better cornering bike than any of those bikes. I don't know about the SX. I don't think it's that much of a difference, because the XCF is a factory race bike. But anyway, let's just go on the trail. The front is coming up very easy, so I really need to be gentle with the gas. Not that easy on riding on the sand. Sliding everywhere. If you're not going fast enough, you're just sliding everywhere pretty much. You see how good, you know, it just takes the corners like nothing. With my KTM, I'm always sliding all over at the place. With this, it just goes. And screams. This is my practice trail. That's where I'm practicing the turns. There is not much else over here other than turning, one way or another. Let me put my backpack down. I don't want to carry extra weight if I don't need to. What's the point of making the bike lighter if I'm carrying a heavy backpack, right? Woo! Let's do it. Some log over here to make it a little bit harder. If the sand doesn't make it hard enough, then there is a log over there. So that's pretty much one lap. Whoa! close to the moon. That's my favorite turn over here, and I think it's the hardest one. I gotta practice to be better at it. Constant sliding. Gonna go all over the place because of the sand. Makes it that much difficult. Beautiful. Lost in the sun a little bit. I just love this bike because it gives me a lot of reason to love it. Wow, it's really a screamer. You see these bumps, if you go fast over here, or you can really through it. But if you go fast over here, this sucker, that clamp, it really helps with your arm pump for sure. Try to take it away. I'll give you left arm pump because just smooth those bumps out a big time. Well, that's pretty much my favorite place over here on earth right now. For just getting away from everything and just relax and enjoying myself the way I like it. For me, this is just a must-have. Come on, man, I'm talking. So this is just a must-have for every week for me, to keep it going and charged for the next week. But that bike is definitely, I'm not saying an enduro weapon, but it is a weapon, that's for sure. Let me know what your thoughts or what you think or what your opinion about this bike. Now you saw with my mods on it and the way it rides, at least the way I can ride it. There's a lot more in there for the pros. I'm pretty much close to a 50, so I think I don't do too bad on it, but Let me know what your thoughts down on the comment. Thanks.